This is Josh Beiser from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions for games you'd like me to look at here on the channel, please let me know. Hello again everybody, welcome to a little video explaining how the Guardian Spirits work in Nioh. At this point I think I've given up on trying to pronounce the title correctly, so we're just going to go with that. The Guardian Spirits in the game are your trump cards, and are designed to give you an edge in battle and hopefully survive some of the game's many fights. So in this quick video we're going to go over them and what it means to switch between them and their special effects. So the first thing is I'm going to be playing, this is on my Way of the Strong. So let me deal with these guys. The Guardian Spirit itself will not affect how you actually swing the weapon. It's the actual weapon itself that you're using will determine your attack moves. Now, as you kill enemies while in Guardian Spirit, you will recover the time, but getting hit or attacking with it will drain the charge. Let me deal with this guy. Go. You'll recover the charge based on absorbing Amrita. You can also, as a bit of a cheat, or as a very useful emergency move, recover it simply by using the soul storms that you pick up. This guy seems to be causing me some trouble. Oh, you want to do that, buddy? Goodbye. Now, each Guardian Spirit will also provide you with a number of passive abilities, which we're going to take a look at in the next minute. But you can use your Guardian Spirit whenever you're about to be attacked to basically have that kind of absorb the damage. I was hoping there would be a mimic in there to show some things off, but I guess not. And I think with that, let's get to the actual menu and we can talk more about the items. Before I do that, just to show it off so you guys know, just simply use a small Spirit Stone, and you can watch my bar recover. Now keep in mind, I'm using a very specific Guardian Spirit that has a greater chance of getting the charge. If you're using one of the more powerful ones, it may require either multiple small soul stones, wow I can't talk, or a few of the bigger ones. But with that, let's cut to the actual menu and we can see what things are all about. So here we are at the Shrine menu and we can take a look at what the different Guardian Spirits do. Now this Enhanced Guardian, this is only effective once you've been in the game once, and it lets you level up your spirits, which you can see there on the left. We'll talk about that next. Now I've unlocked, I think, every Guardian Spirit from my play, which gives us a wide berth to talk about. Now for each spirit you'll notice two categories of stats, the Guardian Spirit Protection and the Living Weapon. The Guardian Spirit Protection is what remains passive when you are walking around and the spirit is on. If you die and you have to go recover your spirit, those Guardian Spirit bonuses will not work. So this is why it just pays you to always have your spirit on. Now we'll go through some of the various buffs right now. One thing to keep in mind is that when you get these spirits, especially some of these later ones, a lot of these skills will be grayed out. And that's because you need to use spirit to level up. And once your spirit hits these certain thresholds, it will unlock them. It also raises your Guardian Spirit Bond, which will shorten the cooldown period for using your living weapon, and will affect how the speed that the Amrita gauge will fill. As we saw in the earlier part, the higher or the quicker it fills, the easier it will be to refill through getting Amrita from enemies or using soul stones. Now one thing to keep in mind, spirits, first off, each spirit will give you a flat protection, and different spirits will have different amounts there. So this guy will cover you 30% just for having them on, which is pretty useful if you're going to be taking damage. My spirit on the right there has a 23%. And that right there is why it is always good to have that spirit on, because you're really going to get hurt otherwise. Now here's the thing to keep in mind when it comes to using some of these specialty spirits. Spirits that provide an elemental damage. So let me see, we have him, and there should be one that provides paralysis. Where are you, buddy? Now I'm not looking at the versus earth. Here's water damage, fire. Was it a bat? There it is. So this guy who provides paralysis, when he adds that to an attack, some of them may add bonuses to it. When you add an elemental effect, whatever is the most that you do will override your weapons. So I believe, let's see. So this just increases the damage, which means that it will just simply add it to whatever you're already using. But something like our paralysis over here, if you equip this guy, if your weapon has another elemental type or damage type on there, if it's not more than 30, the paralysis will override it. Because similar to Soulsborne, you can only have one elemental type attached to a weapon at a time. Now, with that said, I believe he is the only one that will just purely add that bonus. The rest will simply add elemental damage to what you're already doing. So because my Kusuragama does fire, if I add him, I'll gain an additional 15% more damage. Now with that said, let's talk about the more confusing parts of the living weapon, and that's down below. So the attack enhancement simply is a buff that you'll gain to your base attack once you activate the living weapon. This indicates how much of an elemental type you're going to be using while you're in living weapon form. So we have 50, 30, 42 as we keep going down the line. The more of the element that you'll use, the more elemental damage you'll do, and the quicker it will fill up the debuff bar that you see when you attack an enemy with lightning, poison, paralysis, etc. So at 50, what that means is as I'm hitting the enemy with my wind attack, it will usually fill up the wind debuff fairly quickly. As a point of comparison, my badass gear that I'm using here has a fire of plus 10, which means it's only going to build up that fire debuff at a plus 10 rate, as opposed to when I go into my living weapon and I have a plus 50 for wind. So that you can see that it can make things very effective that front. And again, when you go living weapon, it will override any items and any weapon passives for elemental damage. The usable time is how long a living weapon will last if you don't do anything with it. Every time you strike an enemy or they hit you, it will lower the bar. So with some of these Guardian Spirits, they have a very long passive usable time, which will give you more time to play around with. But if you're good enough and you can kill enemies fast, it is possible to regain the bar. Also, if you use a Soul Stone while in living weapon form, it will recharge the time as well. Might decreases every time you get hit. Now, another thing to keep in mind that the amount that it gets decreased is also based on the damage you're taking. If you take a boss's unblockable uber attack, it will most likely completely drain the bar no matter what your might is. And if you lose the bar while he's attacking you, his final attacks may cut through your health, depending upon how quickly he's doing them. Action: the amount that the living weapon gauges consume when you use your chi. So in this case, every time I swing my weapon, if it's like a D, it will take more. But if we're in like the A plus, or A minus, it means that I'll lose less chi as I'm swinging my weapon around. And that can be very useful in terms of being able to just like keep on attacking with it. And as you can see, there's definitely a lot of them to use. So we come over here. This one is equal to me in terms of how much chi is lost, but the recovery is a lot different. And recovery determines the rate at which it grows or recovers when you absorb Amrita. So at C+, mine isn't really doing all that much, but Sarasi, which I know I just completely butchered, will recover Amrita or will grow a lot quicker by taking it in. And then Tenacity, I believe this is the amount of bonus you get if you're at critical health when you're using a living weapon. Now, some living weapons can recover your life, as you can see on mine on the right. And then you have the Amrita gauge rate, the speed at which you gain it. And I know it does seem a little bit confusing. Some of these seem like they're repetitive. So the gauge rate determines how quickly you recover it. But then you have recovery, at which living gate recovers when you absorb. And then you have some that affect the time that you can actually use it in. But typically, I'm concerned about the gauge rate. Oh, I get it. So the recovery is simply while you're using it, while the gauge rate is when you're not using it. So in this case, if I use Sarase over here, if I'm attacking an enemy and I'm recovering Amrita during the fight, it's going to fill that bar up crazily fast, which means I can just keep taking the bar to more and more fights. But if I'm outside of combat and I want to recover it, then my friend over here will do that just a little bit better. But then something like Tengen over here, as you can see, it will recover it very well while I'm keep using the living weapon. But if I'm outside of living weapon, it's going to be harder for me to gain him back. So let me put my guy back on for a second. And when you're trying to decide which Guardian Spirit to use, again, it's going to be based on your preference. I like using quick attacks because I am using a lot in terms of light armor. And Daiba over here also uses evasion. It reduces it for rolling and evading, which is very important when I don't want to get hit. And the equipment drop rate was nice, as well as the luck. But as we get near the end, I'm not needing the gear anymore. It may be worth it to switch to another Guardian Spirit. Maybe one that boosts fire, which is what's on my weapon right now. But I also like the fact that I get the gauge increases here. So as you can see, he is better in just about all regards except for might and usable time. And this may not be too bad. The only downside, of course, is that I don't get the quick attack damage. And the water damage doesn't really work with me, but then again, I'm not really getting anything from this guy. And you can see this gives me additional health when I do purification. So this guy may be worth it to switch to, considering that he's better in almost all aspects. And he is near the top there, or near the bottom of the tree. And again, we can see now low attack damage I don't really use, so I wouldn't make sense to use that for my guy. Kodama's Sense would be useful as well. And one other little thing, I know this can be confusing to some people. When you see stuff like unlimited ammo, unlimited elixir, this is simply a percentage chance. So this means if I use this guy, I have a 10% chance when I shoot my gun that I will not use the bullet. That doesn't mean that I will have a 100% chance, but the more of those I have, the greater that chance will be. You can see this guy has a skill life drain. Maybe I will switch to that guy, because I think that may be the only one that kind of fits with my style other than Dabawashi over there. So let's say that I do want to use him. So we go back over here. If I can find him again. I've only been using Daiba for so long that I've rarely have used the other guys. So now I have to kind of go through and see if I can find them again. Here it is. So let's say I want to use him. But obviously my level is a little low. So this is what happens when you beat the game. I can now upgrade. And as I upgrade, it's going to raise various attributes on the right. So as you can see, as we keep going up, like if I just go to level 2, it raises just those up. But as we keep going up, it's going to impact more and more of it. So the attack enhancement is going to get better, the usable time is going to go up. And once this guy gets to like level 30, it will be very close to how my Daiba is. So if we come over here, you can see things are starting to improve. So to wrap up this video, let's switch to him. And I don't care about fall damage now. And this time I'll try my swords out. They are a little bit weaker at this level. And using weapons like that near a wall is never good. And we'll recover my Amrita, hopefully by just killing this guy. You can see it recharges quite quickly. I gotta actually be careful here. I may get killed if I'm not careful by that boulder. Because that has killed me several times before. Let me build the gauge back up. And you know what, just to speed things along, I will use one of my many spirit stones. There you go. So that is back. So we have a situation to deal with. Where are you? That did not do what I was hoping for. And it got me killed. But each living weapon also has a special ability that you use by hitting triangle circle. My wind one lets me just do like an area effect around. So I think I will switch back to him. But let's wrap this video up. Yeah, that's fine. But that is the living weapon and the Guardian Spirits in a nutshell. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. If there's any other parts of Nioh that you need help with, please let me know in the comments, other than me trying to pronounce all the names. So let me kick this guy's butt. Goodbye. And that will do it. So until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBicer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBicer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.